To me, Virginia Giuffre will always be the woman who brought down the spoiled, self-centered Prince Andrew. It's very sad. Her life was tragically cut short. One will never really know if she ended her life or was murdered. Giuffre and other victims like her, who, after years of serial abuse at the hands of men, somehow find the strength to stand up for themselves. However, the aftermath of fighting powerful forces comes with dire consequences and tragic ends, often by their own hands. After the tumultuous fight to get justice for the abuse she went through, one wished she could enjoy the remaining years with her family, her 3 kids. But like all her other dreams, that dream was cruelly snatched away. Born Virginia Roberts in 1983 in California, into a dysfunctional, neglectful, and abusive family, Virginia had to fend for herself from an early age. Her mother was abusive, and her father was never the father he should have been. At the age of 7, she was abused by a family friend, and when she told her parents, her mother was dismissive and denied it. This kind of response from one's parent messes up your moral sense of right or wrong. It destroys your innate gut feeling of what is safe and unsafe. It creates cognitive dissonance in your mind. A parent not protecting and prioritizing a child's safety and care when an older adult violates her has devastating effects on a child's mind. As someone who went through familial sexual abuse, I know full well the utter disbelief, shock, and hopelessness when faced with this kind of betrayal. This, among other incidents, emotionally scarred her. To escape the hell at home, she ran away. She went from being in an abusive home situation to living on the streets and sometimes in foster homes. Life is tough when home is hell. It's all about survival. And when you're this vulnerable, there are always predators posing as mentors and protectors. According to Virginia, she lived on the streets at age 14, where she had to deal with hunger, pain, and more abuse. It's here she got ensnared by the 65-year-old trafficker, Ron Eppinger, in Miami, who ran a modeling agency, Perfect 10, a front for his nefarious activities. Giuffre lived with Eppinger for 6 months. After this, she was reunited with her father, who worked at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort. He arranged a job for his daughter as a teenage spa attendant at the luxury resort. This led to her fateful meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell, who was forever prowling for pretty, vulnerable, desperate teens. The demographic type that were perfect compliant slaves for her billionaire boyfriend, Jeffrey Epstein. She enticed Virginia with the amazing offer as a traveling masseuse to her rich, connected, creepy boyfriend. What's shocking is her father drove her to Epstein's mansion in Florida the first night of the massage and assault. He let her stay and work there. His underage daughter giving a massage to a strange man didn't get his fatherly hackles up is simply disgusting. Virginia has shared about her experience with Epstein. He passed me around like a fruit plate, to all of his rich and famous friends. In aberrant families, this is the normal parental behavior. As long as the child is out of the parents' hair and is bringing in the dollars, parents aren't bothered. I grew up with a disgusting father like this. He made me kiss and make up with the cousin who molested me. They just don't want the bother of caretaking a child. At Epstein's behest, Virginia went to Thailand to enhance her massage skills. There she met her husband, Robert Giuffre, a martial arts trainer, in 2002 while training as a masseuse. She married, moved to Australia, and had 3 kids. For some time, all must have been peaceful for Virginia, but by 2005, Epstein's degenerate and exploitative ring slowly began unraveling. Victims of Epstein started coming forward with accusations of molestation. That's when the trauma of her buried past must have resurfaced. Giuffre credited the birth of her daughter on January 7, 2010, as the date she decided to come forward publicly and begin speaking out about her experiences of abuse and trafficking, despite the risks. Giuffre founded SOAR, Speak Out, Act, Reclaim in 2015, a charity for victims of sex trafficking. Virginia was propelled into the spotlight, particularly with the leaking of that damning photograph of Prince Andrew holding Giuffre around the waist. Child victims of sexual abuse usually develop mental health problems and need therapy to regain some semblance of normalcy. I'm only guessing that Virginia must have been fighting off her demons while trying to be a mother. Motherhood is taxing by itself, but it's even harder for someone who has never been motherhood and nurtured. Virginia must have found parenting emotionally stressful and beyond her capabilities. In February 2025, her husband had taken out a restraining order for family violence. This prevented her from seeing her children, ages 19, 16, and 15, until June. It must have been devastating not to have access to one's kids. Virginia claims her husband is the violent one who was abusing her and used the system to his advantage. We will never know the whole truth of what went on with her marriage. Whether her husband was the abusive one who triggered reactive abuse in Virginia, or whether the turmoil of her past led her to spiral into violent rage towards her kids. In dysfunctional families, there are always conflicting versions of what happens behind closed doors. Which partner is the abusive one is always up for debate. Virginia's final days were tumultuous, no different from her short, wretched existence. From being accused of violence against her kids to the life-threatening car crash, Giuffre lived her last days pushing against the disbelief and skepticism many victims have to fight against. Truth is often the impenetrable barrier victims have to push against. Sometimes, pushing through the deceit and lies is just too much. Rest in peace, Virginia. May you forever soar.